Jagger, hello, nice to meet you. How are you doing?
Mick, Danielle.
Oh, no, just being polite at the beginning. How are you doing?
All right. Very nice of you.
You okay?
Yeah, everything's good.
Cool. Where are you now? Are you in Cuba or are you in Mexico still?
No, I'm not in Cuba yet. I'm going tomorrow.
Right. How are you feeling about that? It's a big thing, isn't it? A big deal.
But it's a lot of work and a lot of prep, and I'm not actually there, so probably should have gone another day before, but anyway, didn't. No, looking forward to it. But it's a bit sort of ad hoc.
Right, okay.
Slightly.
See how it goes.
Because it's a big open air gig, so there was a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely. So excited to see what happens with that. And of course, I mean, it's so busy for you at the moment because you've got the vinyl series going on, you've got the big gig in Cuba, and you've got the big Exhibitionism opening up in a couple of weeks or so, which I've been reading about for the last week or so. I mean, this is a huge deal as well. 3 years in the making, isn't it? Yeah,
it's a lot of, prep time to do something like this. You have the idea that you can, I was been speaking about it for a few years with this friend of mine that does our lighting and some of our stage stuff called Patrick Woodruff, and we talked a lot about 5 years ago or something about we've got bits of stages and so we didn't want to throw them away, and so we thought maybe one day we'll put them together and show them somewhere, and parts of them of course are in this present thing. But then we started to think about, okay, so if we did this, what would it be? What would it comprise of? What areas will we cover? What areas would we ignore, and so on? It's quite difficult to find a perfect space, and how much space do you really want? How much do you need? I mean, to show some of the things we wanted to show, we'd have had to have rented, a huge sort of sound stage out,
aircraft hangar or something.
To show the stages, it would have been fantastic. And but in the end, I thought, well, if it's kind of got to be in the middle of town. It can't be, miles from anywhere. So we thought the Saatchi Gallery was a really good space, and I went to see some other, I've been to see some other exhibitions, maybe not as many as I should, but when I was in Sweden, I went to see the ABBA Museum, which was a touring thing before. Yeah. And then you learn from, you look at it and say, well, yeah, I see, but I'd like to do this and I'd like to do that, and assembling a team to convert that into a reality, to get it ready. It's a lot of prep time, but hopefully it's all good. I haven't seen it yet, of course, but hopefully it's going to be fun. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it sounds brilliant. I mean, the more I've read about it, it seems very crucial that you guys wanted it to be an experience rather than thought of like as a museum of just sort of artifacts. This is going to be, how it feels to be in your flat that was really round the corner, wasn't it, from the Saatchi Gallery? You talk a lot of the smells and the feeling of being in there. Right. It's kind of a good coincidence. You can approach it all these different ways. I mean, how do you want it? It's got to be, as you say, an experience from when you walk in and from when you go out and you think, that was a really fun kind of like however long you spend in there. And I had a really interesting time going. And some people want to hang around. Some people, when I go and see things, I'm quite quick, and I just I'm a bit of a race through exhibition, and then I might go back and look at it a second time. But some people were much more lingering, or some people like certain rooms better than others. And some people are more interested in clothes, some people want to get guitars, some other. So I mean, there is very different experiences, and these days you can make some of these things very slick and everything. When we started off doing the design, there was a lot of interactive screens and so on, which I think is great. But we made it, in the end, we tried to make it very varied, I think. So each room is a somewhat different experience. It doesn't feel like a corporate thing. Yeah. And so each room is another experience in a sort of sensual way.
The one thing that really I found really interesting about it was the things that really seemed like from the press release and things I've read so far of people that have seen it, like the moments and the places where everything happens seem to be so of the forefront in your mind rather than things that made it happen. So the backstage area or the reconstruction of the studio or, like you say, your first flat. I mean, it's like music, and it's that moment where you get that take, isn't it, where the magic happens, and that's what you're trying to recreate, which is hard, but this is what this is all about, really. What it's like to be in the Rolling Stones.
You can go so many different ways when you do this. I hope people like the take we've done on it. I think trying to recreate a recording studio, it's like while you're in there, you get a sort of feel of it, the idea. And I think when you've gone through the whole experience, you're going to come out the other side and go, well, that was fun hour I spent. I mean, that's really all you're doing. I don't think it has any more pretensions than that, to be honest.
Right.
But for us, it was really a really fun thing to do. I just hope that when I get there and the prep, it's all going to be all ready and worth it.
Yeah, definitely. I read that you weren't very good at keeping stuff. You're a thrower awayer, aren't you? I'm
a big thrower away of most things. The funny thing is I kept a lot of clothes. I don't quite know how that happened. We kept a lot of set. I throw away most everything. I could have had the whole Saatchi Gallery full of clothes, to be honest, and there'd been nothing else for my clothes. Decade one starts here, and you walk through the whole thing. But lots of other things I do throw away. I'm not a hoarder of ticket stubs and old posters and awards and things like that. But collectively, and I do have things, and we've got lots of other stuff, and we've collected things from other people, and people have kept things and they've lent them to us and so on. So all in all, there's an awful lot of stuff here.
Yeah, I heard you had to buy some stuff back from auctions. Maybe not you personally, but a few people have sort of gone back and gone, how have they got their hands on that?
We got things from it. Well, sometimes, people, basically nick things. And so then the last few years, there's been this sort of auction house sort of stuff of memorabilia, and a lot of it's just sort of disappeared from rather dubious sources somewhere, I think. Right. But anyway, some of it's been collected, fine.
Yeah.
And I bought things back from people, or I bought things from people that they've actually owned, or artwork that people, have created that they've either sold to us later on or lent to us. So, we just acquire things from everywhere.
Yeah, and I suppose this was a really interesting point that I read as well, that, I mean, back in sort of 1964, archiving is not really the forefront of your mind, is it? I mean, sort of before that we had all these incredible blues musicians and all that kind of stuff, but when you're in the moment, you're part of the movement, I suppose, yourself, aren't you?
You're just living the moment. You're not like thinking, this is all going to be for my grandchildren. I mean, and tucking, posters away and things like that. Some people are like that. I mean, so I always give this example of Andy Warhol. He used to collect every night. He collected his bits and pieces from his night out. Which would be like the bill from the restaurant, or the ticket for the cinema, or the label from the bottle of wine, and all of these things. And every night, and the Polaroid pictures and the video, and he put it all into. Every week, that would go into a labelled garbage bag, and they were all kept. So some people are that kind of collecting person, and some people aren't.
Has it been a really nice process for you to go through stuff and things that you had forgotten about suddenly sort of re-emerging? And what's been the sort of thing that's moved you the most, do you think, from uncovering all this stuff in the past 50 years? Is there one particular thing?
I mean, I haven't really found anything. Personally, I didn't find anything like that. All I found was people keep asking me things that I don't have.
Okay. I don't know where it is. I don't know what happened to it.
I'm sorry. I've looked really hard for that, but I can't find it. It's been my response to everything. I do, as I said to you before, I have a lot of clothes, so that was like that I could put my hands on, and a lot of stage clothes. I'd stored a lot of stage clothes and a lot of my old personal clothes. Also, I put them into storage, and so that I could put my fingers on. But all these other things, people kept asking me for, just saying, basically I wasn't really a very good resource.
Don't know where all those. Is it true that you can still get into most of your clothes for all that time?
I haven't tried getting into these dusty old things, but I should think so. Yeah, I'm pretty much the same shape, and but so I'm sure I can get into them all. Ones that haven't shrunk too much.
From looking back at that sort of 50 years and stuff, I mean, this is taking place, as I said in the beginning of the interview, near one of your first flats that lots of stuff happened in. What do you think what was it like back then being a musician in London? Because I know times have changed so much, haven't they?
Yeah. It was pretty much a hand-to-mouth existence, we were talking about the other day, because Keith and I did this little piece about living in the flat down in the World's End in Chelsea.
Yeah.
And it was, we didn't have that many gigs, we were trying so hard to get, a bit of money at gigs. We didn't have any money, and, so we had to pay the rent, and, the guy, sometimes the landlord would forgive us the rent, and, for a week or a couple of weeks, and then we'd have to somehow get the money together, and try and get our gigs together. That's what we're really doing, and practicing really hard. And then when we sort of finally got, our big thing was to get regular gigs was the thing. You didn't have any gigs. It was really dispiriting. So when we got we had 2 regular gigs on Sunday. So that was like a big breakthrough for us. We played in this little club in Charing Cross Road, and then after that we used to play in a slightly bigger place in Richmond. And when we knew, we were so confident that we knew if we got this regular sort of gig to get, we could show what we could do. And that was a sort of huge breakthrough for us, because then we didn't really have to worry about the rent after that. So we were we were good.
Yeah. It's going to be so interesting, isn't it, for you all to sort of stand there in that reconstruction of that room, and also of like the old studio. It must just be so interesting for you. It's kind of like immersive back into your past, isn't it, in a public way?
Yeah, it will be. I mean, I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only done it in sort of a kind of virtual way, in it being immersed in a studio with full of sound and light and pictures on it. And so when I'm talking to you about this, it'd be better if I'd actually walk through the whole thing.
Well, you have kind of, haven't you, really?
I've kind of walked through it in my mind a lot of times, and I've walked through it virtually. So it's when you actually do it though physically, it will be quite. I'm sure it'll be quite. I would say emotional. It'll be really super evocative, of certain stages of your life, right from the beginning to the present.
And how great for your family to experience that as well. That would be great.
Yeah, well, they will. Yeah, they'll kind of be suitably laughing, I should think. But a lot of it.
Oh, amazing! And I know this is just on for a period of time as well. And as you say, it's like an experience. It's not just like just looking back at the past. What's ahead for you now that you're excited about? Because as I said at the beginning, you're so busy, so many things going on.
I kind of like just living in the moment. Tomorrow I'm going to Cuba, and then Friday's the show, and then I'm looking forward to the opening of the Exhibitionism, and then I've got some things to do for the summer, but I'm just living for that at the moment. So
absolutely,
I'm good. Well, very nice to talk to you.
Very nice to talk to you too. Have a wonderful show on Friday. Safe travels, and really look forward to Exhibitionism. Thanks for your time. Thanks, Mick.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.